ITV is presiding over really something of a crisis now. This is because Phillip Schofield's ex-lover actually denies that bosses quizzed him. Now, ITV said they fully investigated this in 2020. We've heard from someone else, another source, saying that actually it was reported to ITV in 2019. ITV says they fully investigated, spoke to both parties. Now it transpires that the ex-lover says they never talked to him at all. And so ITV has a lot of questions to answer. Also, Dr. Ranj, who was a regular guest on This Morning, also accused the show of having a toxic culture of bullying and discrimination. I saw this last night around 7 o'clock, and Ranj, who I know actually, he had put out a 2-page statement about what went on. He said he went and actually spoke to the powers that be at ITV and said that essentially what was going on was absolutely not the right thing to be happening there. He also said he takes mental health very seriously. I know he spends a lot of time dealing with mental health, and it seems that well, certainly according to his accounts, that actually things were not taken seriously. So the question is, what happens today? I think This Morning goes on air in just under an hour's time. Also, ITV will be waiting to see what happens to the share price, which obviously, as the markets open tomorrow at around 7 o'clock. So there's that. Also, what happens in terms of the advertisers? We've already heard this morning about one big advertising brand actually breaking their sort of advertising revenue, or giving their money to ITV as a result. So the question I have for you this morning, do you think This Morning can survive this crisis? Also, the bigger question, I suppose, is what does this do to the ITV brand and denting that brand? Do you think it can recover? What do you think? Do you care? Do you actually care about this story at all? Some of you are saying, no, you don't. There are more important things to worry about. I'm really keen to hear your thoughts and comments. 0344 499 1000. Text the word talk in your message to 87222 and tweet us at TalkTV and tweet me at Dr. David Bull. Well, I'm delighted now to be joined by Beverly Lyons. She is a showbiz journalist and she joins me now. A very good morning to you.
Hello. Hi, good morning to you.
So this story has moved on dramatically since last night. We, and I spoke to Josh Rom about this last night. I said there was more to come, and clearly there has been more here. Lots of questions in my mind. What did ITV know? When did they know it? What did they do about it? What did Holly do? And what happens now?
Yeah, as you say, this has opened the huge proverbial can of worms. And it is one of these cases where who is being held to account on this? How many people knew about this? It's always one of these things, and it's going to have the overall impact on, as you say, ITV's brand as a whole, but also imminently on Holly Willoughby, who, of course, is off at the moment, but will be returning at some point, we are told. We've now got Dr. Ranj questioning the whole environment, saying that it's a very difficult situation for somebody to be a whistleblower because it's at risk of jeopardising future careers with other broadcasters in this case, or with a similar company in case they're seen as somebody who stirs the pot just too much. Dr. Ranj has come out and said that he actually did raise questions at the time and he stunted out the door as a result of that. And questioning and also broadening that out to a bigger thing in general with organisations, and saying nobody should have to deal with a toxic environment, and we should be asking questions. And I think it is important, because if you don't ask the questions, then you can be implicated in this as well.
I mean, Dr. Ranj has been very clear here. He says he raised his concerns about Martin Frizzell's behaviour, who's the exec there, and the environment at This Morning with Emma Gormley. Now, Emma Gormley is the big boss. They're managing director of daytime at ITV Studios. And essentially, ITV has responded saying, well, actually, after the complaint made by Dr. Ranj, we appointed an external and independent advisor to carry out a review. And the review found no evidence of bullying or discrimination. Well, some review if they didn't actually interview the parties involved.
Well, this is where it's all coming out now, and lots of different voices, and I'm sure that this is going to snowball even further. This is not the end of it, as we can suggest, but yeah, it's all about mental health, bullying, diversity, all sorts of different messages coming out here, but also with regard to behaviour and this line of when does mentorship end and something illicit begin?
So you make a really fair point, and I'm being really careful from a legal perspective. But certainly some people, including lawyers, have said that, you know, obviously whilst there is no evidence that anything was done illegally, there are questions to be asked about that relationship and whether it was the right decision. Also about young people being put in a tricky position, shall I say. Was there an imbalance of power? That's what the lawyers that are quoted are saying. I have to be very careful what I say. There are some very odd things here. Look, I've worked in television for a long time, 25 years or thereabouts. The fact is, essentially, this young man was a studio runner. He then became something I've never heard of, a presenter runner. And he then moved around various shows, not just within the ITV network, but even with an external production company. That, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a fast track. And I mean, obviously, we are now finding out that there was a relationship there. So it's almost like taking your personal assistant around with you laterally. But as you say, we have to be very careful on what we say here. We do know that, you know, people in a position of power and who are famous, who are stars, who have accumulated wealth, very often get approached by people who want to learn from them, who want to study under them. But at the same time, it's this whole kind of thing of, does this mean now that nobody can take anybody under their wing in the future to show them in case they are accused of something, or equally, does it mean that the line was crossed?
So let's move on to Holly now, because the question I have is, what did she know? And if she knew something, when did she know it? She released a statement saying she directly confronted Phillip about the relationship, but Phil lied to her. Now, many people I've spoken to, including our entertainment correspondents, including people at ITV, and said they just don't, they find, I have to be careful, they find this very hard to believe. And one former ITV daytime source said they believed that she did know. Now, the question is, we don't know. We simply don't know. We don't have the facts in front of us. So she's issued this statement. What's the feeling on the ground about this? And what I suppose is much more important is, does ITV stand by her?
Well, you know, people on social media, everybody's talking about it as they always do. Pictures surface of, I think there is a picture that's, again, legally, I think I can say this, that it has circulated of Holly with the person in question and Phillip Schofield. So, indeed, there is a picture with the three of them in it. Yeah. So, but does that suggest that she knows what was going on? This is the whole thing, and this is where the crux of the matter lies. And at what point did she feel compromised? I mean, clearly she said that she's made a statement saying that she wasn't aware of it. A lot of people who worked in the show have subsequently come out and said that they were aware of it. So one has to ask, if she's closer to Phil and they used to go on holidays together, why wasn't she aware of it? Would he have kept that secret from her? But I mean, these are, again, all questions. The implications for this, that, you know, her career and her integrity are now being questioned, and her future is therefore on a bit of a shaky peg as a result of it. And again, once again says, you know, even by association, just people are going to probe and ask questions, even if Holly is innocent. You know, she's been put in a very, very bad light and situation. Yeah, indeed. You've also got Eamon Holmes coming out saying he feels absolutely furious about the way that he was used in this. Also, we've heard from staff at ITV saying it certainly has not been easy working at ITV, and the fact is that when other presenters took over, it looks like, and this is what they're saying allegedly, that actually things were easier under new presenters. Thank you so much, Beverly. Very good to talk to you. Beverly Lyons, showbiz journalist.